Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Joining me today is Sriram Seshadri, and we're going to be talking about Tamil Nadu politics in general, but there's also some other things we'll be touching upon. Most importantly, there is a verdict in the Madras High Court where the way the verdict has been worded would send shivers down the spine of many ministers across the country. This has impact, I believe, across the country because anyone can cite this judgment because the way the corruption has been found is just mind-blowing. So does this mean that politics in India will be cleaner in the future? I sure hope so. Let's hope that this thing plays out the way I'm expecting it. Let's welcome Sriram Seshadri ji. Sriram ji, namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel.
Sree Iyer ji, namaskaram to all the PGurus channel viewers. And today is a 𝗤𝙬𝙖𝙩𝙤 𝗤𝙧, so I pray to Lord Vishnu for everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. And viewers, before we kick off this particular hangout, I'd request you all to like this video. And if you have not subscribed to our channel, kindly do so. And also, if you're watching this on a smartphone, it's very easy to find it. You will see a super chat or super missing this thing. It's a super script icon, super sticker icon, I should say. I finally got it. So you can locate that at the bottom right. It's a dollar symbol on your smartphone. If you click on that, you can get super chat or super sticker, and you can click on either one of those things, donate what you think is appropriate, and then it will appear as a super sticker or a super chat on our chat window. Based on the amount of money you put, it might stay for a long time. That kind of gives you a visibility, and we encourage you to do that. That way you also encourage us to keep coming up with good programs. Thank you so much for that. Sriram ji, Ponmudi, the verdict that has come down on Madras High Court by Justice Jayachandran, it's something that is very seminal because this case was actually quashed by a lower court. So walk us through a little bit more about the history of this case. And then I believe there's a locker that has not been opened yet. So there are more things that are waiting to tumble out of his closet. So that's also something that I found this out by listening to somebody else. So my curiosity is piqued. Over to you, sir. Talk us through what happened on this case.
Sure. See, there are multiple cases that Higher Education Minister Ponmudi is currently undergoing. So a few months back, we would have seen Justice Anand Venkatesan suo motu opening a case. That is different from this one. So I just want to distinguish that because that is also a prevention of corruption case, and this is also a prevention of corruption case. In fact, Ponmudi is implicated and convicted in a case later than that Anand Venkatesan, he reopened the case. So between 96 to 2001, there was a DVAC case that was filed when Jayalalitha came to power in 2001, filed Department of Vigilance and Anti-Corruption Wing unearthed assets more than the known sources of income. That is a corruption case. That case was closed after they came to power in 2021, and that is the case was reopened by suo motu opened by Justice Anand Venkatesan, and then Chandrachud, when they went to appeal in Supreme Court, Chandrachud, Chief Justice of India, said that thank God we have judges like Anand Venkatesan. So that case is different. I just want to distinguish that. This particular case pertains to a similar, assets amassed or assets more than the known sources of income, a corruption case pertaining to 2006 to 2011 period. Imagine this guy is an habitual offender. 96 to 2001, he has amassed a lot of wealth and through corrupt practices. Case was filed, didn't change, didn't flinch. 2006, when they came to power, again started indulging in similar activities. So 2011, Jayalalitha, when she came to power, filed a case, the DVAC filed a case for 1.76 crore asset more than the known sources of income. So that is the case that was filed. And in 2016, the verdict, the trial court acquitted both of them. I'll tell you the reason why the trial court acquitted, along with the judgment of this appeal judgment. So in 2017, after 𝗤𝘚𝗍𝘚 came to power, almost like 8 months later, normally within 90 days, one should file an appeal, but 8 months later, this appeal was filed in Madras High Court, and it moved from one judge to another. At least 6 judges had benches it has passed, and then finally landed in the Justice Jayachandran's bench. So he heard through the arguments of the DVAC, and also the argument after 2021, when Tamil Nadu government came to power, heard through the arguments from Ponmudi's side. And imagine, this is a very unique situation. 2021 DMK government. So the DMK government lawyer pleading that their own minister is a criminal, and DMK party lawyer pleading that he is innocent. So I think this is a unique situation that DMK has come to face. So on 19th of December, the judge overturns the trial court's judgment and then sets aside that, says that Ponmudi and his wife, Mrs. Visalakshi, was a convict. And on 21st December 2023, the judge pronounces a sentence, and then the sentence is 3 years imprisonment for each one of them. That is, Ponmudi undergoes a 3-year imprisonment, and Mrs. Visalakshi undergoes a 3 years imprisonment, and each pay a penalty of 50 lakh rupees, towards this case. Failing to pay that, they need to serve another 6 months of imprisonment. So that's the verdict. And on 19th, with the moment he was pronounced convict, Ponmudi loses his membership as a legislative assembly, because according to Representation of People Act 81A, where anybody who is convicted on certain cases and the prevention of corruption case is one of that particular events, automatically the person loses his or her membership to the loses the MLA or MP position, whichever they are holding. And thanks to Lily Thomas, because in Lily Thomas' case in 2013, Supreme Court Constitutional Bench came and awarded. Previously, there was one provision in the same Representation of People Act that the moment one of the member is convicted by the court, within 3 months, if they appeal, they don't lose their membership. They continue to enjoy the membership. They continue to become an MLA or MP and continue to hold the office of power, everything. But I think Lily Thomas filed a suit in, Supreme Court lawyer filed a suit in Supreme Court Constitutional Bench, stating that the purpose of this, disqualification itself is lost the moment it is appealed. So honorable judges at that point in time saw the sense of it and then squashed the provision that, it is automatic disqualification unless and otherwise the higher court stays the order, which means until they don't even wait for the court. Disqualification happens the moment the judgment is pronounced. And then one goes to the higher court for staying the sentencing or conviction. That point in time, they are reinstated. So the natural justice is prevailing. Now let's get into why this judgment is very, very historic. Justice Jayachandran is known to write a very detailed judgment, and some of these judges that we have seen in this country, they also have a egoistic position. I don't say this egoistic position in a negative way. I say this with the full responsibility that they go to the extent of writing the judgment in detail in unequivocal terms without any sort of confusion, because they feel that their judgment should never be reversed by the higher court. So that is their level of integrity that they want to show, that at the moment the judge gives an order, and no court should be able to find fault with it. I think that is the level of professionalism these judges have. Justice Anand Venkatesan is one, and then Justice Jayachandran in Madras High Court. There are several other judges across India are like that. So Justice Jayachandran in Senthil Balaji's bail case wrote the verdict. Normally what happens is the bail is denied his order with a very flimsy reasons or a very not detailed order. But Justice Jayachandran wrote in that 1 to 6 reasons, like he actually, when Senthil Balaji was a minister, tried to close the case, and then Supreme Court reopened. Senthil Balaji continues to be the minister again. His brother was beaten up the IT officials who came on raid. His brother was absconding. So there are 6 reasons he gave, and then said bail is rejected because of this. And Supreme Court finds it very hard, unless otherwise all the 6 conditions are met or that negated, Senthil Balaji will never get his bail. And that's the level of detail this judge goes into. So in this case also, this judge went into that particular case, and why he turned the verdict by the trial court is untenable. Gives a brilliant reasoning. What Ponmudi is, because DMK is known for corruption, scientific way of doing corruption, and then they go to all extent to ensure that they are not caught. That's the level of professionalism in corrupt practices. So what happened is Ponmudi, during his tenure, whatever corrupt money that he got, he had a perfect account of his cases. For example, he has filed his income tax returns. He didn't have any other asset beyond the known sources of income. He has declared in 2006 election time, he has declared his assets, and 2011 he had declared his asset. There is no discrepancy in that. But what happened is his wife, Mrs. Visalakshi, seemed to have had property more than 1.76 lakh crore worth.
1.76 crores.
Sorry, always I use a 1 point, because when it comes to DMK, the lesser number is always myth. That's why I put a 1.7 lakh crore, right? 1.76 crore worth of asset. And one might wonder, why is that a corruption case always for a lesser amount? When people actually loot in thousands of crores, why are they caught in lesser amount? Because if a person, government officials or ministers or politician caught for 1 rupee fraud or 1 lakh crore fraud, the sentence is the same. The gravity of the sentence is based on the position one holds and not based on the quantum of the money that has been looted. I'll come to that why, because this statement, I'll come to that because some of the DMK spokespersons made a ridiculous, comment comparing Jayalalitha's conviction and Ponmudi's conviction. So Mrs. Visalakshi claimed that, she had agricultural income for 55 lakhs per year. Sorry, 55 lakhs during that 5-year tenure, almost 11 lakh per year each, if one averages it out. And claimed that, she ran 5 to 6 businesses, from where she got a net profit of nearly 4.86 crore. Okay, so on an average about 90 lakhs to 95 lakhs per year, she got a net profit. I'm not talking about the volume of transaction or the sales turnover, talking about the net profit after expenses and all. So those income should be taken into account when the judge analyzes whether she had asset more than the known sources of income. So a lot of people may ask why Mrs. Visalakshi's assets are important, because Ponmudi is a public servant. Ponmudi was the public servant. Ponmudi was the minister. Why should the family's asset be scrutinized? Because this is where the abetting to crime, which means what law looks at it as. Of course, Ponmudi would have been the public servant, was the reason who does the corruption, invests that money in the family member's name. But the law doesn't look at it that way. Law looks at it from the other way, saying that the person who has a asset more than the known sources of income abets the crime, which means forces the public servant to commit the crime. That is how the law looks at it. Very beautiful way the law actually is derived in our constitution and our statutes. So that is why his wife's income or the direct dependents, parents, and all those incomes are very important. If you and I, as a commoner, have assets more than the known sources of income, the DVAC will not come into play. ED probably may, depending on if there is a money laundering activity. Otherwise, only income tax will come into play and then saying, okay, you have an asset, but you have not declared that income. So there is a penalty. But for a public servant alone, the DVAC or a CBI or ED has a bigger jurisdiction, larger jurisdiction. ED, of course, has on a common public also, businessmen on common public also, provided there is a money laundering. So in this case, she had submitted these documentation and then said that, we have filed income tax, paid advance tax towards this amount. So it is a legitimate income. Trial court considered this and then let Ponmudi and his wife, off the case and then acquitted them in 2016. Justice Jayachandran did not agree on any one of this. I think 38 to 39 evidences were recorded during the trial court. And in appeal, you cannot bring in a new evidence. In an appeal, only one can argue the merits of the case, some certain arguments that probably was not understood by the trial judge. You can't bring a new evidence to prove a case or disprove a case. So DVAC, when they argued in the appeal, argued that whatever evidences were collected, 55 lakh of agricultural income is invalid because they had about 26 acres of land. In that, there were about 8 to 10 palm trees and then 2-3 other trees were there. It was more or less a barren land and no agricultural activities happened. So how could one got 11 lakh on an average per year as an agricultural income? So Justice Jayachandran looked into all these evidences, cross-examined Ponmudi's counsel, and then dismissed this claim that 55 lakhs was not a considered income. In Jayalalitha's case also, similar thing happened. Jayalalitha and Sashikala claimed they had a grape vineyard in Hyderabad. They claimed that 65 lakh worth of income every year they generated. But judge, based on the inputs from the VAO, input from the agriculture department, input from a similar vineyard in the surrounding, calculated that not more than 13 lakhs per year was the income, could not have been more than 13 lakh. So 65 lakh income cannot be accepted, and then that is how she got convicted. The same way, here also the judge applied that logic and then said, for on a barren land, how could you have got this, this much of income, and then set that aside. The second, he came to all the 5 or 6 businesses where the accused claimed that they had filed an income tax, they paid the income tax and then filed the returns. This is where the beauty of the case gets into. 2011, the DVAC files a case. In 2012, they actually create the records that they're filing of the income tax returns. Belated returns are being filed. Income tax amount is paid with penalty, so that they say, okay, yeah, I had an income, but forgot to pay the tax or whatever, and my auditors have erred, and then so you can't blame me for that. But the judge goes much deeper into it and then says, where is your sales tax registered? One of that is a Vishal exports, which means there's an export trade. So where are the documents with respect to the export trade that this trading unit conducted? And there was an automobile spare part company in the name. I think Vishal Automobiles or something. Where are the transactions for that? Well, if one has to generate a 4.86 crore of net profit, at least more than 4, even if assuming that your turnover is the net profit, just for the sake of it, 4.86 crore worth of banking transaction should have happened. Much more than that, of course, at least 5 to 6 times of the value of banking transaction should have happened, or turnover should have happened to gain a 4.86 crore worth of net profit. So judge went through the business's bank statements to see where are the payments, and judge went one step further to find out that between Ponmudi's personal bank account and Mrs. Visalakshi's personal bank account, there are, in that 5 years, there are more than nearly about 300 crores of fund transfers back and forth had been happening. So linking all these, and there's one more Supreme Court case that which was delivered, judgment delivered by Supreme Court in 2010, which links why family members' asserts are also important, because they are all abetting to crime. On that basis, and income tax, paying the income tax is not reason to legitimize an income, because income tax authority, according to Income Tax Act, if you declare you have a 10 crore of income and then 3 crore is the income tax, they'll just collect the tax. They are not going to ask you what is your source of income. They are not going to ask you, is it a legal or illegal income? For them, you earned an income, pay me the income tax, that's all. But that DVAC doesn't look at it that way. DVAC goes deeper and then finds out what is the source of income. So paying income tax does not absolve anybody as does not absolve an illegitimate income to a legitimate income. And the judge puts all these perspective in place and then says that final statement or paragraph on that particular judgment is the icing on the cake. A trial court has erred in their judgment. Actually, he's gone criticize the entire trial court's verdict. Didn't cast any aspersions or the motives on the judge, but they said that it is a judicial error. And then I am reversing this, because people think that normally a trial court, if it has acquitted someone, the higher court will not reverse that acquittal. But in this case, he says very clearly, the fundamental principles of justice is 1,000 criminals can get away, but one innocent should not be punished. And he reverses that and then saying that if a criminal is allowed to be escaped by justice system, a judge has a accountability and responsibility and duty to bring justice to that case also. And that is why he says that I'm reversing, setting aside this order, not even reversing. One has to look at that, setting aside this order and then pronouncing the minister as guilty and convicted. So that is a crux of the entire judgment. He awards 3 years imprisonment, but also gives a 30-day, not a suspension, 30-day time to surrender. Okay, because in a DVAC case, if there is a 3-year or lesser sentencing, then the same judge who is delivering can give a time for the person to surrender before the court and then pursue other legal remedies to prevent arrest and imprisonment. So he had given Justice Jayachandran given 30-day time for Ponmudi and Mrs. Visalakshi to surrender before the trial court and then be imprisoned. So within this 30 days, they have an opportunity to go to Supreme Court for staying the conviction or staying the sentence and plead for. And actually, it is not an appeal, because the right to appeal ceases. There's no way that because the judge has not given any provision to appeal. But what they have is they can go and file a special leave petition to Supreme Court to consider reversal of this judgment, which my humble opinion, with the limited knowledge of law that I have, I think the Supreme Court judges don't look upon this sort of a special leave petition with, they don't actually favor them. First of all, they'll say you go and surrender and then come for a bail. They will not even set aside, the sentencing, or they will not stay the sentence. That's my opinion. But we need to wait and see. They'll create all documentation of his health issues and so many other things, and then they'll go and plead. But let's see how the Supreme Court reacts. Over to you, sir.
Sir, one question on what you said, sir. Did you say that the inter-bank account transfers between him and his wife was close to 300 crores?
That's right. That's right.
Wow. 300 crores. That's a princely amount, Sriramji.
A princely amount, and for him it is peanuts.
Sir,
So
the other question.
That is where the judge says that who was given the money to invest in these businesses. So he was diverting these money to Mrs. Visalakshi to invest in the business and then convert that into a business transactions. I think the audacity of the ministers, especially the DMK, or mostly the politicians, I'm going to generalize it here in the politicians, saying that the audacity is very clear. Let me commit the crime. Who is going to stop me from doing that? And worst comes to the worst, if I'm going to be, found guilty, and I can drag on the cases for 20, 25 years. Jayalalitha did that. Dragged on the case for almost 20 years or 20, more than, I think 1996 the cases were filed, and then 2017 the final judgment was pronounced. Of course, 2013 itself the trial court pronounced the judgment, almost nearly to 20 years, and another 3-4 years for the appeals and all. So so they have this audacity to commit the crime because they have at least 2 decades that they can simply waste, spend money and then keep dragging the cases. And by then, either you will be aged, and then you can plead Lalu Prasad Yadav is a convict, but is roaming around freely, on parole, stating his health condition, but he doesn't have a problem attending a INDI meeting. So I'm seriously wondering why the judges are not looking into it on a suo motu basis, saying that if you can go and attend a INDI alliance meeting, why not you be in prison? Okay. I think that's a level of arrogance these politicians get, sir. That is actually is annoying.
Sriramji, that's not all, sir. I have to go to ask you more important questions about Mr. Ponmudi. By the way, his name is Gnanasikhamani.
Yes.
I don't know when he changed it to Ponmudi, because his son's name is Gautam Sikhamani.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, this is DMKization, guys. DMKization means you take a God-given name by your parents and you take it and you Dravidify it. And this Dravidification is it's an inventive way to try and do anything. Let's not go there. So my most important question is this guy now still in the Council of Ministers?
No, sir. No. He is actually, he ceases to be the MLA the day he was convicted, that is on 19th. And the day it was pronounced, that day itself, he lost his position, so he is not part of the Council of Ministers. But what, troubles people like me, or most of the people in Tamil Nadu also, and of course should trouble the general good Samaritans, is Chief Minister met with Ponmudi after he came from Delhi. Chief Minister, Mr. Stalin, met with Ponmudi. Imagine, Mr. Stalin is not just the DMK leader. He holds a constitutional position as a Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. The DVAC rolls up to him, and he meets a convicted ex-minister. But who cares? The same person, Chief Minister, embraced the Rajiv Gandhi killer when this guy was released after so many legal battles. Not acquitted. Perarivalan. Released, not acquitted. Okay. If at least acquitted, you could go and embrace and then say, okay, boss, sorry that you had to undergo.
Justice has been done. Hallelujah.
Justice has been, yeah. Right. So this is the level of the Dravidian Dravida model is like this. So the Chief Minister meets with him, but the repercussions that this judgment had created is very, very important. Durai Murugan had gone and fallen ill, and then he is in the hospital. I think he came back a day or two before, because we'll talk about just a very briefly, the Sand Mafia case was handled by one ED officials who are probably was hand in glove, who was feeding informations to the raids in advance to places where he was being raided. The case has been transferred from that particular zone to another zone now. So the officer in charge of this particular zone is far more stricter than the guy who was handling the case. And because of this, Duraimurugan feels that the case is going to tighten it now. So in fact, ED, within ED, there has been a black sheep. I think that is what is being unearthed, and that person is now being transferred. So we may have to see some how the ED is going to take actions on them, but this is going to develop in the next 1 week or two, Sree Iyer ji.
Sriramji, the person who is the ED lawyer, that person is a DMK party person.
Yes.
And they should be looking at that one too.
Yeah, absolutely. A.R. Sundaresan, lawyer, his father was a very close associate of Mr. Karunanidhi. In fact, very, very close. In fact, to that extent that, Karunanidhi protected him when Jayalalitha started taking some political actions on his father, A.R. Lakshmanaswamy Mudaliyar, if I'm not wrong. So they all belong to the same caste also, or some same caste community. And Advocate A.R. Sundaresan is a staunch DMK supporter, but that also they need to look into it. That is why, one of the reasons why 𝗤𝙗ℎ Mehta was not invited to argue the case of when 6 collectors were summoned, and then that case was with High Court. A.R. Sundaresan argued it was a very weak argument. In fact, in our program itself, I covered saying that, it was a very, very weak argument allowing the Tamil Nadu government to go scot-free. In fact, I actually, in this show itself, I talked about Sree Iyer ji that, this case is being diluted for various reasons, right? And now they are actually correcting the flaws. And when someone asked 𝗤𝙗ℎ Mehta why he didn't appear for this important case, as a Attorney General, Solicitor General, he has to be invited by ED to appear for that case. He cannot just like that say that these are the cases I'm going to attend. So he has to be invited, and then he was not invited. That's why he didn't actually argue this case. But now I think 𝗤𝙗ℎ Mehta will appear when this case comes up for further hearing in the Madras High Court. Okay. So I think there has been a black sheep within ED also trying to favor the DMK government, which is now being corrected. And that's why Duraimurugan is, they are creating a history of medical issues. That's why, he has gone and, found himself ill. Maybe he is also aged, so he may be he may be ill also, he may be sick. So he has gone to the hospital, but they are creating a file on his medical scenario. In fact, imagine, one should look at it when Ponmudi and his wife was asked by the judge before pronouncing the judgment, do you have anything to say? So I actually love the honesty of DMK spokesperson leaders, Sree Iyer ji. They never say that I'm innocent. They always say that, do you have evidence? They always claim that, can you prove, can you convict me in the court of law? Is there a proof that you have? Never ever they come and say I'm innocent. So like that in the court also they went and said, see, I am innocent and hence I should not be punished. They never argued that. They only said, both of them went and submitted saying that I'm 73 years old and my wife is 68 or something, at least crossed mid 60s. And both of us have medical conditions and hence please give a lenient sentence. They never said that, I am innocent, right? But I have been implicated in this case. Nothing like that. They just, and I love that honesty of DMK people. They always honest when it comes to when you challenge them that, you are a corrupt party. Oh, where is the proof? They don't say, look, I am innocent, right? So he went and pleaded. And the same party, talks about Savarkar who toiled in Andaman prison. But now they say that I'm old and hence you cannot, give me a, rigorous sentence or larger sentence. But that be the case, I don't think the courts take the age into account, because even in Chennai, Madras High Court, there was one, lady, 80 years old, was convicted. And Om Prakash Chautala, one of the famous and probably one of the first politicians to get convicted.
𝗣𝗚𝘂𝘆 son.
Yeah. So he was arrested, and then at the age of 70 plus, Lalu Yadav at the age of 65, 70 plus. So I think age is not a consideration when it comes to pronouncing the sentence. So by 30 days, if Ponmudi and his wife doesn't get any sort of relief from Supreme Court, they'll have to go and surrender to the trial court, which is in Viluppuram, and their jurisdiction of prison is going to be in the trial court jurisdiction, which means most probably it is going to be Kadalur Central Prison, not Pural. Okay, Pural, at least they already created a VIP facility for Sendil Balaji. A medical block has been created, set aside for him, and he is actually living a 5-star life there. So they'll have to create something similar to that in Kadalur prison also, Keparkavadi prison also, for him to have that have that luxury. So another because Supreme Court is on vacation till 2nd of January. So 2nd of January they need to go and file for a special leave petition. Remember, I'm repeating, it's not an appeal, because there is no more appeals available in prevention of corruption cases. Once a High Court delivers, it's a special leave petition that you go and file in Supreme Court, which has to get listed. At least an appeal and then emergency hearing and all can happen. But I think they will try their best with senior law counsels to run this case with the Chief Justice of India, mention it in an urgent way, so that they try to get at least a stay on the prison sentence. Conviction, reversal of the conviction, if at all it has to happen, there's less than 1% chance, because reading the judgment, I think no Supreme Court judge would like to reverse this. So Supreme Court most probably will hold the conviction, and that point in time they may pronounce a different sentence, but it will take at least 4 or 5 years before that happens. So Ponmudi's political life is set out, is set now. He no longer will be able to enjoy the political life that he has been having so far. So if his disqualification is not reversed, which means his appeal and all will take longer time. So naturally a by-election has to happen in Tirukkovilur, where he contested and won, which will happen along with 2024 general election, most probably. And when that happens, his son will contest, and probably the nepotism will continue.
Sir, his son is already an MP.
No, he is going to lose that, right? 2024, he is no longer going to be an MP, so he will contest in...
I see. So he might take a chance of being an MLA rather than an MP.
Yes, they might take a chance of being an MLA and get the portfolio that his father got. So continue the family legacy.
Actually, there is more trouble ahead for these people, because 2-3 years ago, PGurus had written about some of the other cases that these two are embroiled in, Gautam Sigamani and Ponmudi. And there is also a raid that took place, and they could not explain the amount of cash that was there in their house.
Yes.
That is a different track. That's a separate thing. So this is Mr. Ponmudi is in deep dodo. That's how we see it in US. And dodo is you can put your own 4-letter word to replace that. And so this one is done. By the way, viewers, those of you who don't remember, this man was the one who said some derogatory things about people from the north, saying that they are only fit to sell pani puri in Tamil Nadu. Very. This was actually intended to be an insult to the Governor R N Ravi, who was sitting on the dais. This was a convocation. This guy was a higher education minister. I mean, these people treat anyone and everyone like a doormat. And now karma has caught up with them. That's all I can say. This is the arrogance and hubris that they have displayed. Another thing that this person did was, I don't know if you remember, viewers, there was a motion where, I don't remember the exact context, but the governor was saying something. And sir, what was the context, sir? This guy...
it was during because every year when the governor, the assembly starts with the governor's speech, and governor refused to speak. Because normally it's a protocol that the government writes the speech for the governor. Governor actually delivers that speech of the government. So in this case, R N Ravi refused to deliver certain portions of it. Say, for example, some of the non-factual information in the speech, he refused to speak about it. And because of this, immediately, the chief minister rose and then passed a motion, or moved a motion to say that expunge the governor's speech from the assembly records. So governor, when he learned it, he just left the assembly abruptly. And that time, one could see the video where Ponmudi was saying, "Oh, get out," sort of a action that he was showing. Okay, get out. So he's a very known to be very arrogant. One more thing that one has to remember is there is one famous temple in Viluppuram called Dravidian temple. And there was a caste clash that was engineered, and then this guy went and locked the temple, which actually hurt the sentiments of Vaniyas, because they actually consider that as a very important temple for them. And there is a political score that is being settled by C.V. Shanmugam. 2017, he was a law minister, and he is also from the same geography, Viluppuram area, from ADMK. C.V. Shanmugam was a law minister from ADMK, and whose powerhouse was a tussle. I think C.V. Shanmugam will have a last laugh saying that, okay, I settled the score with this guy. So I think those are all and what biggest implication for DMK with this Sree Iyerji is, they always have been very scientific in doing their corruption, and then they have never ever been convicted. Those who have been convicted also from ADMK to they moved from ADMK to DMK. Say, for example, Selva Ganapathy moved from ADMK to DMK, then eventually he was convicted, for a corruption case. But DMK, pedigree DMK has never been convicted so far. So they always keep saying that, oh, A1 Jayalalitha, because she was convicted. So now they actually have the karma as boomeranged on them, and then they cannot no longer claim the moral high ground that, none of the ministers of DMK had been convicted. Though A. Raja and Kanimozhi and all were still in the case on 2G, and they all went for, they had, they were in prison for some time, trial as a trial prisoners, but they were not convicted. They were all acquitted by the court. So this is the first blow to DMK that, they are one of their most senior functionary and minister has been convicted by the court for a meager of an amount. I think that's where, the ego will be hurt so much. Come on, I have swindled thousands of crores, but I have been convicted for just 1.76 crore.
Yes, indeed. And viewers, this is not everything. We have one more very important topic to talk about. We wanted to touch upon this because, you see, if something doesn't add up, the government is prepared to bring in some other additional information. In the case of Sand Mafia, we've talked about it at such extent. They got ISRO satellite imagery also.
Yeah.
So this government is at the center, is determined that if they decide to teach somebody a lesson, they're going to go all the way. I'm shocked about how some of the other cases were dealt at the center level. I hope they will do course corrections on those also, especially things concerning white-collar crime. Viewers, I've spent my first few years in PGurus was all about doing research. At least now I'm doing videos. Those years I didn't do videos. I was doing a lot of research, and a lot of writing that came out. The book C Company, for example. You look at the amount of, or NDTV frauds. There is so much white-collar crime there that is, Pranay Rai is escaping free. And that guy, he was such a, pounding from the pulpit about morality and virtues. He himself was a crook.
Yeah.
And he has a gang of friends. All of them are in my book. They're all the same category. Anyway, let's move on, because one of them happens to be in Anna Salai, sir. So
okay.
Next topic.
The Mount Road Mahavishnu. Karnanidhi used to call them.
I think it was Nehru, who coined it. Karnanidhi may not be that creative in his English, sir. Sir, the thing about this INDI alliance, there are two districts, viewers, Thoothukudi and Tirunelveli. They are reeling from the flood because the amount of rain that has fallen in a 24-hour period was so heavy that temples have gotten water about 2 to 3 feet. And this is very rare. Temples are very carefully constructed. They are constructed on river banks, but they are carefully constructed at higher places. Yes. And even that has become, flooded. And while all this was happening, neither the chief minister, and I'm told none of the ministers came. And it was Governor Ravi who has been overseeing flood relief operations. And this is, and this man goes and sits in the INDI alliance, and there he gets his ear tweaked by Nitish Kumar. Sir, over to you.
Yeah. So it's a very unfortunate and, the nature fury on Tamil Nadu in this monsoon season. We have seen Madhya Pradesh going through that a few months back. And then I think this monsoon season, this year monsoon had been very furious most of the time, maybe because of ecological changes. We saw Chennai floods happening, which I would say put a blame on man-made disaster. Majority of extent, if they had worked diligently to create the sewerage system, stormwater drain system, could have avoided most of this disaster. 𝗤𝙗𝘃𝗁 committee was formed last year, and then they 2023 June they filed the final committee report. I think 6 months before a draft was given, and then final report was given at least almost 8-9 months back. And even if they had taken some corrective actions on that, some of the disaster could have been avoided. Whereas what happened in Tirunelveli, Thoothukudi districts is an unprecedented natural fury. Like you said, 100 centimeter rain in a 24-hour period is never heard of, in Indian history at all. Even a cloud burst would be much less furious. I think that's a level of lamenting that these two districts got. And the entire district was, flooded. Of course, the flood water also recedes faster, but this much of amount of rain across this district, how much ever the flood water recedes faster to the sea, would still cause a lot of, property and human life, dangers. I think, so far about 150 people have died. I still don't have a confirmed number, but significant amount of property damages. We have seen some of the, houses being just uprooted. What otherwise we saw in Uttarakhand floods, where the houses were just washed away. We saw similar thing happening in city, to a plain city. It is not a hilly station at all. So it's a very unprecedented, and officials were on the job. SDRF, NDRF were on the job, but significant amount of ministers or responsible ministers were not there. I would at least honestly give a benefit of doubt to Kanimozhi, the MP, who was on the ground most of the time. I think that's something that we need to appreciate. But other than that, Udayinidhi Stalin went there, and Stalin went much, much later on that. In fact, both of them were in Salem to oversee the preparations for their, youth wing, conclave. And then Tirunelveli mayor was spending time with Udayinidhi Stalin and Stalin in Salem, preparing for this conclave. When the people were, receiving this historic rainfall or natural fury, when they were facing the natural fury, the mayor was missing in action. He was undertaking the party activities in Salem, far away from Tirunelveli. And eventually, there's one film director who was actually coordinating some of the relief activities, invited Udayinidhi to visit because he was a friend. Both of them are friends, and then because of that, Udayinidhi went there. And of course, the official machinery kicked in. Conspicuously, the chief minister was not present. He was very busy attending to Christmas cake cut, and which is recent, but before that, he was very busy with the INDI Alliance meeting happened in Delhi last week. He could have avoided that meeting, and people, the constituents of INDI Alliance would have definitely understood his absence, because being a chief minister, going through this disaster, disaster of a lifetime, maybe 100, 150 years back, similar disaster would have happened. But so they would have understood, and then would have accepted a representation. Political pundits and analysts would not have actually claimed that, Stalin is trying to break away from INDI Alliance. Nobody would have cast any aspersions on Stalin's decision if he had stayed back in Tamil Nadu to take care of the relief measures. But for him, the INDI Alliance meeting was far more important than the 𝗤𝙧𝙤𝘀𝘀 and 𝗤𝙟𝑛𝑒𝑙Veli crisis. That's what I guess, that why he went there in person. And when he went there, what decisions were taken? Any decision that have been taken in the INDI Alliance could have been, at least consented by TR Balu, who was representing, Stalin. Not that, Stalin was a person who was very important, instrumental in getting making some decisions there. Because one could see from the last INDI Alliance meeting that it was the driving seat. Mamata Banerjee was sitting on the driving seat. She actually proposed Kharge as the prime ministerial consensus prime ministerial candidate. Arvind Kejriwal seconded that proposal, and Stalin was not the one who architected this sort of a movement. And it was Mamata Banerjee who said that Congress should contest less than 300 seats. So why Stalin went there? He needs Congress. To win an election in Tamil Nadu, he needs Congress, without which he will lose an election. The minority votes will get split from, move away from, especially the Christian votes will move away from, DMK Alliance. And if Congress leaves, at least the 𝗣𝗚𝘂𝘁𝘀 and one communist also may think aloud. Why not we go with Congress Alliance wherever they are, so that, we have better prominence of, better probability of winning. So to safeguard the political future of 2024 parliamentary election, discarded, I believe he prioritized that than the crisis that was looming in the southern districts. And when he went there, he was, Nitish Kumar was speaking in Hindi. Previous INDI Alliance meetings and all, there was at least English translation was available. And Nitish Kumar was speaking in Hindi. TR Balu, at the behest of Stalin, said that, can the translation be arranged? And Nitish Kumar said, Hindi is a national language. Why don't you learn it? When a common man says, or a security personnel in Goa airport tells it to one passenger, or we don't even know what exactly the security person had told the passenger, but that is created as a political event in Tamil Nadu, saying that, oh, the Hindi is being thrust on us. And any time when they are cornered, Hindi, thrusting of Hindi is one of the toolkit they use, or they kindle the emotions of Tamil language as another toolkit. Whereas in the important INDI Alliance meeting, where DMK is believed to, if this alliance in Tamil Nadu continues as is, believed to contribute significant number of MPs, at least minimum 30 MPs they will contribute if the Congress, 𝗣𝗚𝘂𝘁𝑀, Communist and DMK alliance continues in Tamil Nadu. At this point in time, things may change in the next 3-4 months. But if that continues, it is believed that they will get about 30 seats out of 39 seats. An important constituent of this INDI alliance has been snubbed by, the Bimaru region leader, Nitish Kumar, saying that, why don't you learn Hindi? Come to the meeting if you, after learning Hindi. That's a level of, respect that, the chief minister was given, but no media discussed about it, no uprising, no agitation, no condemnation, just listened to it and then walked away. So far, nobody has condemned it from DMK. Nobody has condemned, Nitish Kumar for making that statement. And then probably, I don't know, the DMK people will now take a Hindi tuition to learn Hindi, because they have been commanded by one of the parties in the INDI alliance to learn Hindi and then come. But their Hindi, agitation or opposition to Hindi is only for the masses, not for their political gains. I think this is the pathetic level of politics that DMK is, involving itself in. And that's very deplorable in my opinion.
Yes, indeed. The sooner the country rids itself of such elements, the better. We'll wait and see how it plays out. Sir, we have a few questions, and we are also coming up against 1 hour limit. If you don't mind, maybe we can go a little bit faster on the questions and try to see how quickly we can limit the. I know you have been up for a long time today, so I don't want to subject you to a lot of torture. 1 second, sir.
Sure.
Questions, please. Namaskaram from Magnet Ranga. There are enough skeletons in the cupboards of DMK and ADMK. Could BJP exploit this and try for more seats? Why BJP is slow on Congress's corruption at national level?
Magnet Ranga, I think, there are skeletons in every political party's cabinet, including BJP for that matter, some areas, but generally believed that, communist and BJP are less corrupt compared to Congress, DMKs or ADMKs of the world. I think, BJP corruption has not become a major election issue nowadays in India. That's a very realistic and saddening part of it. So I don't think corruption will be a major issue. Of course, in Tamil Nadu, Ponmudi's conviction will play out to some extent, because there is going to be political narrative that is going to get built. But on Congress leaders' corruption, once again, our legal system allows them the very, 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 very long rope. One cannot take a drop of a hat and action and then get away with it. So the legal system is very strong, and these people have access to the legal system. I think that is why it is all taking time.
Next question, please. Magnet Raga again. Sriramji, your grasp of the issues and your ability to explain them clearly and in simple terms are excellent. Thanks to PGurus for these hangouts. Most hangouts of PGurus are indeed excellent. Thank you so much, Magnet Rangaji. And viewers, I hope you've had a chance to look at the super chat and super sticker options that you can locate on your smartphone. On the bottom right corner, there's a $sign. You click on that. You can choose to be on super chat or have a super sticker. Choose your super sticker, and that will show up on the chat window. And next, we want the number of likes we have. It's only half of the number of viewers. Typically, the like should be about the same as the viewers, if not more, because the number of views on this, I can say probably around 3,000 to 4,000. And if all of you will like the video, then it would really help our cause, because that is a good factor, good parameter that the YouTube algorithm looks at. So decide that, oh, this appears to be a very interesting hangout. Let me get this thing and spread the message to more people. We have 453,000 subscribers. I doubt if every one of them got this notification. The notification as to who gets it and who doesn't get it, I don't understand it. I do know one thing, that once you start watching something, if you are watching for 2-3 minutes, you like it, click on the like button. That's all I want. Then everything else is up to God and up to YouTube, of course. Ruben Loganathan wants to know, did BJP lose to NTK the publicity during Chennai flood as Simran or Simran stole the limelight with his ever-presence at certain places in the statements he gave compared to Annamalai?
Ruben, I don't think so. I don't think Simran was ever present in the Chennai floods also. Of course, some press statements he gave, but, that's not the case. But unfortunately, ADMK and BJP played very low profile of Chennai floods for some reasons. They didn't want to politicize this much further, or they allowed, DMK to dig its own grave of, misinformation. So that is why they didn't do much of politicizing of this. For some reasons, it was a low profile by the opposition parties.
Next one, please. Giri wants to know, why PM Care Fund audited privately rather than by the CAG?
Giri, PM Care Fund, like Prime Minister's, relief fund, erstwhile relief fund, which is now the PM Care Fund, is a private trust. It is not a public trust. It has been organized by the PM. So what between the PM Relief Fund and then PM Care Fund, only difference is there the Congress Party President is the trustee. Here the Prime Ministers and 5 cabinet ministers, Cabinet Committee on Security are the trustees, because they just structured it so that tomorrow if a different regime comes in, it is not just a Modi or a BJP president who will be the trustee of that. It will be that day's Prime Minister and the Cabinet Committee on Security, which is 4 different cabinet ministers, Defense, External Affairs, Finance, and one more, I forgot, Home. These are the 5 ministry who will be the trustees of that. So since it is a private fund, private trust, it's not a public government trust, it has to be audited only by a private party and not by CAG.
Next one, please. Kushananda Keshava wants to know, why is DMK MP A Raja not sentenced to rigorous imprisonment for the 2G scam worth thousands of crores? How different is Ponmudi's case from Raja's?
Only difference is Ponmudi's case, there are a lot of evidences, and in Raja's case, the case was not presented. So in 2013, out of significant opposition from the party, media, and public, the case was filed and the case was diluted. But when the case was, when 2014, when BJP came to power, they want to file a supplementary charge sheet. By then, the trial had started, hence a public supplementary charge sheet could not be filed. Ideally, BJP should have filed another case on that, with instead of waiting for the supplementary charge sheet to be done. So in this case, the arguments, whatever the charge sheets were, for that only the charges that have been framed, only for that the evidences could be given. So the appeal is still pending. Hopefully the appeal gets heard faster, and then a retrial happens. That point in time, they may get they may get convicted too.
Thank you so much, sir. And Sarath Reddy, what happened to sand scam in Tamil Nadu government? Please explain. I think we explained this just now. Yeah,
we just talked about it, Sharath.
Next one, Prakash Bhaskaran wants to know, will the corrupt convicted politicians' property be confiscated?
Only to the extent of the amount of crime. Because see, 1.76 crore would be recovered, because now the DVAC has moved the Chennai High Court to allow them to extract get this money out. Only to that extent it will be confiscated.
Next one, please. Taru Scorpion wants to know, sir, will the latest amendments in the CPC put a lid on delaying tactics by offenders?
Yes, Taras, definitely. In fact, I wanted to do do the full walkthrough of the latest 3 laws that have been done. Maybe next week session we can concentrate on that. We'll do that, and I will walk through the salient features of this. Yes, it will put a lid on delaying tactics for sure.
Next one, please. Sarath Reddy again, why BJP is not giving rapid action on National Herald case? Your views, sir.
Actually, National Herald case is not even a government case. So it is more of a private person's case, Subramaniam Swamy's case. I think court delays are happening. I'm sure that it'll because if it is a government case, you can blame the government, but it is more of Mr. Subramaniam Swamy who filed this case.
Next one, please. Kumar Swami Srivastava, 1 PGurus membership has been gifted. Thank you so much. Next one. Thank you, Kumar Swami, for gifting a membership to 𝗤𝙑𝙤𝙬𝙁. He is the recipient of this. Congratulations, 𝗤𝙑𝙤𝙬𝙁. And thank you, Meena, for putting a super sticker. Really, really appreciate it. And it's as easy as that. Meena heard what I was saying and decided to try it out. And that's a very generous gift. Thank you so much. Pranesh Rangarajan wants to know, sir, what, according to you, would be the best way to shake and eliminate Dravidian ideology? How to remove Dravidian hegemony? In what way BJP can mobilize Nota votes for DMK?
I didn't understand what is the last question, how BJP can mobilize Nota votes for DMK. But, I will say that, so the Dravidian ideology is deep-rooted, at least for last 70 to 100 years. It's not going to be very easy to, shake that. Only the development ideology and nationalistic ideology, when it starts spreading, the Dravidian ideology will start going down. See, one of the reasons that I was against BJP aligning with the ADMK, I have nothing against ADMK, nothing against 𝗤𝙧𝙤𝙁 Palanichami. But one of the Dravidian party has to, go. That's when an alternate ideology will start growing in this state. So the alternate ideology is not put up by Congress, and hence BJP is the only party that puts up an alternate ideology. That is why ADMK losing its sheen will help BJP to grow. So that's the only way. So there has to be a dialectic materialism, a concept of dialectic materialism. That's when each thesis and antithesis will start fighting each other. So we need that to happen. So hopefully 2024 is a start of that, thesis to antithesis fighting happening, Pranesh.
And that brings us to a close of today's program. Thank you so much, Sriram ji. And viewers, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Do watch the interview I did of Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy that aired about 3.5 hours ago. And he's talking a very important topic. Many of us have families who have come to US. Many of us have families who have come on H1. And today, if you come to US on an H1 visa, and you have to wait for 100 years before you will get your green card. That is the backlog today. 100 years. It's practically not in your lifetime. But this wreaks havoc on your children's future. Your children are born in India, they come to US, and then when they turn 18, they have to come back. They can't stay there. That's the law. So what happens is the family gets broken up. The mother chooses to come down to India because the children have to come here. It's a mess. That's all I can say. Raja Krishnamurthy is trying his best to try and alleviate the problem. And he knows the data on his fingertips. This is an example of how hard the congressmen in United States work. They really need to be top of their game. And it's a very good interview. I did not hold any punches back. I asked him some difficult questions, but he came through. That's the most important thing. There's also a takeaway for Indian manufacturers. They can participate in some US defense tenders. So you may want to watch that program. Thanks once again, Sriram ji. Namaskar.
Namaskar, sir.